Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Tokyo on Fire. Today is April 25th, 2017. What an awful lot is going on in Japanese politics. I'm joined today by my co-host, Michael Chuchek.
It's great to be back.
Welcome back. You were gone
for about a month.
Yeah, we missed you.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Michael, a lot is going on. The political machine is starting to gear up for the municipal elections for the Tokyo Assembly. That election date is July 2nd. Two days before July 4th?
Well, yeah, but that means we're really only 2 months away before we really know whether Koike has got it all together.
Right.
She looks like she's got it all together, and that the LDP is going to be absolutely eviscerated in this election.
They are playing shadow this and shadow that. They're scoping each other out. They're having dinners, and they're trying to see what kind of candidates are going to throw their hat into the ring.
Well, certainly Abe, as both the Prime Minister and his second hat as president of the LDP, he's playing a really interesting national versus local game. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has had dinner with Koike. I guess former Prime Minister Koizumi was sort of a chaperone, but then there were all these chaperones around the table. And this group, who should be seen as outsiders, seem to be really insiders, mm-hmm. and there seems to be something really significant going on in terms of reform.
She was mentioned as the person of the year.
That's right, and Time put her in their list of 100 most influential persons, and that's great. And
we nailed that a long time ago, though. I mean, really. I mean, in Japanese politics, to see a woman of that stature rise up, look what she's done with the Tokyo metropolitan government.
Let's have some truth in this. I didn't see it coming. You argued for it. I saw it. I said, the old guard are going to figure out a way. But they haven't. Mm-hmm. Instead, they've been falling over. We see old guard LDP member one after the other saying, I'm not going to run. Right. I'm not going to do this.
It's happening every day, isn't it?
And the thing is that you would say, oh, great, that means we're going to have a two-party system. We don't know about that, mm-hmm. because the DP is becoming absolutely depleted by her challenge.
Right.
We have at least 10 members of the Assembly who are DP members, who are not going to run as DP members, who are going to try to get it on her.
They're smelling the coffee. Everybody can see this tsunami coming in, pardon the
rather
mixed metaphor.
Yeah. But still, they can see it coming. Now, from my point of view, oh, great, so we're going to just show that we're absolutely opportunists, we have no principles, we toss parties aside. But hey, if it gets them elected.
But the game right now is let's get control of the Tokyo metropolitan government, and then, right, ...
Yeah, well, then there are going to be nothing but investigations of everything that's been done by all the governors and all the assembly members beforehand. Right now, there's sort of a break on what they can do and cannot do, mm-hmm. particularly in regards to Toyosu and the Tsukiji. Whatever kind of deals were worked out in terms of making that move, right. which is not happening now. But once she gets a majority, and it looks really very likely that she will, with Komeito on her side, DP, what's left of it, on her side,
right.
And now Seikatsu, this small local party that exists, well, it's nationwide, but it's only on the local level. She's got a team that looks like it can take on the old guard, and right. when they do, it's going to be investigation after investigation.
What's the dynamic going on between the Prime Minister and Shimomura, who are on TV a lot now doing rah-rah? What's the Shimomura angle here with regard to the Tokyo metropolitan election?
Well, he is in charge of the Tokyo metropolitan branch of the LDP, and ostensibly should be being dragged over the coals for blowing it, somehow enraging or inflaming Koike so that she's leading this rebellion and not being able to hold the line. But he is also a good friend of Abe's.
Very good friend, probably his best friend.
And one of his best friends, one of his most reliable allies, and Abe has not been willing to just simply cut him out. So, Shimomura is in a place where he really can't do much of anything except be almost ingratiating.
Okay, what about
Koike.
Ishihara then? Ishihara is always sitting to the immediate right of the Prime Minister when they have their cabinet meetings. It shows on TV them sitting down together. The Prime Minister comes in and he sits right next to him. He is the son of the former governor of Tokyo.
Well, he's got to sit tight and see what's going to happen. He's currently a member of the cabinet, so he cannot go in absolute rebellion against the cabinet, well, because he'll be thrown out of it.
Doesn't he have a role, though, in Tokyo politics?
Certainly he does, because he has his little fiefdom of Suginami-ku, where he's deeply entrenched, and where the Ishihara brand is very much defended. But he also has to figure that his district could be a swing district, and he really can't go out against the prime minister. So I'm looking at Ishihara the younger. Now, Ishihara Shintaro has come out fully against Koike because he feels quite strongly and quite rightly that she's going to have him
roasted. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And she's already put him through that once. She's going to do it numerous times because she's looking for someone to blame for all kinds of things.
Sure.
And he was
works.
He was elected 4 times. He was there a long time. So a lot of it is on his ledger.
Right.
So to what extent his son can be his protector or his knight in shining armor, I don't see it.
Let's shift gears a little bit. The Diet is currently in session, and the members of the cabinet are just getting hammered by the opposition parties. There's a lot of blood on the streets.
Well, it's true that we've come to a point where the normal procedures of Japanese politics are really, really off. We've
passed the budget.
We passed the budget, but also we have this long-term prime minister, and nothing seems to chip away.
His approval ratings are still, way above 50%. Not way above, but
they're still about 50%, which is higher than Koizumi's were at this point in his long tenure. Abe's looking like someone who really will challenge the historical records in terms of longevity.
So go after his lieutenants, go after the weaklings.
That's right.
And there are a couple of them.
A death by 1,000 cuts if you can do anything.
Right.
And there are all those statements, museum curators are a cancer on the society by the revitalization minister. And the Kaneda story in terms of trying to defend the conspiracy bill, that guy has made a complete shambles of that testimony, so much so that he's given it, they actually had a vote in committee to take the responsibility of answering questions away from the minister and give it to the bureaucrat who's been whispering in his ears.
He would be raising his hand and they would just ignore him. The prime minister would point to the bureaucrat down the line.
Yeah, it's just because he's not a law expert, and yet
he's got terrible dynamics. I mean, the way he looks on TV, it just
and the opposition has been using everything they got to just throwing nonsense questions at him. And is mushroom gathering a conspiracy act if it's done on public lands? Therefore, it's an illegal collection of mushrooms. And
ask a hard question. Of course it is.
And it's been bad. But despite this, nothing in terms of support for an opposition, nothing in terms of reducing the cabinet's popularity level.
Right.
It's absolutely aberrant.
Well, I think they're attacking there, and also the justice minister, too, is not faring very well. We also had not a resignation from the LDP, but somebody that was kicked out of the LDP.
Well, he was, okay.
A little flavor, maybe.
Well, in this case, okay, we have the Nakagawa scandal, and we, of course, never indulge in the kind of salacious material that gets people to suddenly resign for no reason, and then their replacement is named, and then the Shukanshi, the weekly magazines, come out with what it's all about. And in this case, what it was all about was a legacy politician who inherited the seat from his father, and his father, just to be aside, was a very close associate of former Prime Minister Koizumi. So there's that, his father Hidenao. But Nakagawa we know that he is unfaithful to his wife. It's possible that he violated bigamy laws. We are not quite sure about that. And so it was amazingly fast how quickly the Abe administration reacted to that kind of scandal. I mean, that's sort of the thing that is the only worthwhile thing to talk about, because it's really just gross. what this fellow did. And especially, I've apologized to my wife and she understands. Oh, really? Does she?
Right. She's sick in bed, isn't she?
Oh, I don't know what she is, but
She is. She's
sick in
yes.
bed.
She has an illness, a
Yes.
serious illness. And he's out gallivanting. He's worse than gallivanting. He actually asked somebody else to marry him.
Okay.
Right?
As I was about to say, aside from that grotesque aspect to it, the issue that's of interest is how quickly the LDP and Mr. Abe and how quickly they deal with one of those situations.
Well, he was a vice minister too.
Yeah, he's a vice minister, but boom! Before we even really knew what the issue was, the announcement of his replacement was there.
Okay.
It was a very grim announcement. It's like,
Sure.
oh wow, what happened? But boom, they were on it. Whereas in terms of these really sometimes quite insulting things that cabinet members and sub-cabinet members have been saying that have been churning up the diet, there the Abe administration draws the line. So there's something about sexual misconduct, which is not illegal between consenting adults, by the way, unless, of course, he really did commit bigamy. That is beyond the pale. Whereas, in the case of the Moritomo Gakuen story, we have some people who clearly broke the law. And yet there's nothing
Flash
on
in the
it.
pan.
Yeah, it's just not gone anywhere.
Right.
So there's a really interesting dynamic there.
Bare knuckle fighting in Japanese politics. This is likely to continue for the next couple of weeks. Please stay tuned.